that money like 100000000. I'm here with Gino.
Hey, danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block. Try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big racks. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with them bangers. With my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, shit the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the fake and this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step, but my pass is bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made off the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on the dash. And they tell me slow down, cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla, cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin getting the continuation to the upside, holding our macro value area low from Friday's live stream. Got the money flow crossover into the green on the daily, and we are getting the push up, guys. Are we finally going to see the $95.3 to $97,500 zone get hit? Hopefully, we could crack out of this range, guys, and leave this choppy mess that we're in. We got some of the altcoins moving. We got XRP making big moves, also being saved by the skin of its teeth. So we'll cover that. We'll take a look at dominance. We'll take a look at some of the altcoins, and we're going to give you all the sauce here on Bitcoin. Are we going to continue up? Are we going for a big drop down? Have the high time frames changed? We're going to break it all down tonight. So shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got Big Huggies in the chat. Welcome in, brother. Looks like we might be able to put away the Huggies for at least a little bit. Well, Bitcoin gets the push to the upside. We got Brillo in the chat. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. We got Crush It Nasty in the chat, dropping the blue L's. I don't know. Some people say it's an inhaler. I don't know what that is, but shout out to you, man. Welcome in. Rudy said, Frankie, is your last name really Candles, bro? Word on the street says it is. Yeah, it's either Candles or Fibonacci. It's either Frankie Fibonacci or Frankie Candles. Nobody really knows. It's a big secret. It's the biggest secret in the crypto community, other than who Satoshi is, which, hey, that's up for grabs, too. But shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Welcome in. We got Multi-Sig Dummy Neon Visual. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Back for the first full week of trading here in this beautiful market. And hopefully we can see some upside. But we got a lot to look at here, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate the free content. And, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Got a twitch in my eye here, guys. I don't know if you could see it, but my eye is like tweaking out here. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Yo, shout out to I can't even read the name. Shout out to Beast. Shout out to you, bro. He said I smashed the like button before the content. I know you got the sauce. Shout out to you, brother. Well, coming back here, guys, if you watched Friday night's live stream, you will know that we were looking at a very key level on the chart being $89,000. The reason this was such a key level of support was because it is the value area low of our macro range. Well, actually, just to be clear, if we extend this over, it does move down slightly. But, of course, the key level we looked at on Friday, $89,000. macro value area low of the range, and kind of going over, right? Every time we had dropped down below this range, every time we tried to get back in here, we couldn't hold it, back down, tried to hold it, couldn't last, back down, rejected, and then finally we were getting back up here Friday, and the reason we didn't hate this was because we did have some of the higher time frame money flow crossing into the green, which of course does indicate the trend is likely to continue. We had the 12-hour, the 16-hour money flow crossing into the green. You guys can see that right here, and of course we did have the daily money flow. I don't think it was crossing over quite at that point, but it was getting very close to that zero line, anticipating, well, hey, if that 12-hour money flow crossed into the green, the 16-hour money flow crossed into the green, we were anticipating that daily to follow very shortly after, and now finally giving us that crossover, and we did hold above $89,000, making the next major target here, guys, that $96,300 point of control of the range, just like with any profile or any volume profile. Once you get above the low, of course, you would want some kind of confirmation. You know, back here, we even covered this on Friday. Back here, it was the money flow had not had a significantly big wave. We had the money flow crossover. We had a nice trend to the downside, but it was just very choppy down here. But as we wound up getting above here on Friday with the money flow looking to cross over into the green, it was a little bit higher probability that we would finally see, number one, with the crossover into the green, but number two, because we had actually spent a significant amount of time in the red here, maybe it's time to start spending some time in the green. Did I say the green? Spending some time in the red. Maybe it's time to start spending some time in the green. And, of course, we did flip that $89,000 level, which, of course, does open up that target here at the POC sitting at about $96,277. Now, this is obviously a little bit of a zone here, guys. We are getting we do have two daily MPOCs here. Pull that up, right? Sitting between about, 95,300, almost 95,350, all the way up to about 97,500. This has been the zone we've been looking at forever, right? We had basically almost over a month of just complete and total sideways action. Super chop, not even a clean range, just super, super choppy stuff. And, even the first time we approached here, we were hoping we can come up to this level. We front ran it, came back down. Chopped sideways during the holidays, absolutely no volume in the market, and finally, here in the new year, money flow comes up, we finally get a big push to the upside, and maybe, just maybe, we can finally come up and see this level tapped, and I am, I do prefer to come up and tap this higher level. I am still holding my long position, as you guys know, it's the same long position I've been holding from $85,000 all the way down here ever since about December 18th. I do believe I have this on the right here, up about $2,500. Still got 650 locked in. Not oftentimes, guys, do you have to wait this long for price to rotate a volume profile. But of course, the thought process there was within our current range. Obviously, we deviated below the low. We saw some confirmations. We took that trade looking to get into the range, flip the POC, and eventually get up to the value area high. And I was actually talking to someone yesterday, we were looking at the trade, and I was like, man, the target is this value area high. Typically, these fill, but it's taken quite some time. I do think that it will eventually get tapped, though, and here we are, absolutely smashing through it. And on Friday, we covered the two major levels of support and resistance. Obviously, 95.3 to 97,500 was the major level of resistance, and then the real major level of support was coming down here below about 80,500. Other than that, we just had the local range. We did have some confluence here on a Fibonacci retracement and a daily MPOC at the 786, but of course, we were just kind of looking at this as less important support and resistance within the range, right? If we were to see some confirmations up here, we would have looked for some short positions in the premium Discord to ride that back down to the range low, and then, potential long positions down here. But for the most part, the bigger levels are what we've been waiting for, and we are getting very close to that level of resistance. So no confirmations up here. We just smashed right through this resistance, so of course, no short. Held on to the long position, and now that is finally starting to move. So, yeah, I do think, guys, with this money flow crossing into the green, I do think that the trend to the upside is probably higher probability. Now, obviously, that's not 100% guaranteed, but when we see that daily money flow crossover into the green, of course, we are going to look for that overall trend to continue. It does not mean that we cannot get pullbacks, right? But on those pullbacks, we can potentially look for higher lows and higher highs to continue that overall trend to the upside. Whether we come up here first or not, I'm just kind of waiting for it to get tapped. I am actually also holding a little bit of a scalp short here from the SFP of the range highs. I don't have super confidence in this. It's super low risk, right? So if I get stopped out, it'll be a small loss. Long will continue to play out, and then we'll actually come into that bigger level of resistance. But overall, right, Back inside the profile, this is very nice. It's not just the money flow coming into the green. It's, of course, also the fact that we're back above this value area low. If we do get pullbacks, whether we come up first or we just come down from where we are now, we can potentially, with this money flow being in the green, right, we can look for higher lows and higher highs. Now, the biggest level of support that I really want to hold, guys, is going to be the value area low, which is also has a bit of confluence here, right? We do have the golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement. Bada boom, this sits between about 89.8 and 88.3. You also have the daily naked point of control sitting at about 90,200, and you also have another daily MPOC, sitting down here just below the 786. And I know this is a bit of a bigger zone, but just in general, right, if we are going to see this red dot, you can see the VWAP is attempting to roll over. If we get this daily red dot over the next day or two, and we do get some kind of a correction, this is really the level that I would like to remain on top of. I wouldn't hate, right? I wouldn't be like totally writing off, if we get a little slip underneath that value area low, you do have some backup support. Ideally, we just hold inside the profile, right? Ideally, we don't come out, but if we do, you do have some backup support there. So just in general, we want to stay inside this volume profile. And with money flow coming up, we can look for the continuation of those higher lows. And if we get it, and money flow comes back into the green or continues into the green, we can look for the overall continuation of that trend. And again, it's hard to say, right? Are we going to come up here first or are we going to come down first? I'm just waiting. I got my alert set here, waiting for this level to get tapped. But just to have you guys prepared, if we do get a pullback, my general sentiment here is at least off the daily time frame. We'll get to the higher time frames in a second, but we will be looking for potential higher lows and higher highs, right? Of course, if that fails, right, we'll talk about some lower levels. But at the end of the day, daily money flow is cross green. It's been a while since we've seen one of these. The last crossover, we got the crossover into the red at the beginning of November, right? So we've already been in this red wave for, call it 2 months. So nice big red wave. Hopefully we could spend some time in the green and, of course, start looking for a bigger relief rally to come in on Bitcoin. Now, are we going to all-time highs? I know that's what everybody wants to know. Now, my base case here, guys, of course, is still going to be, I've talked about this so much, right? Like, obviously, we haven't really gotten that big of a move up. But my long-term context here, guys, with the weekly money flow is still coming out, right? We spotted the hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. Yes, that is a bullish indication. We had the green dot printing. We had the daily money flow coming up. Yes, that does indicate a bounce. Not necessarily a guaranteed higher high to come, right? And the reason for that is because this money flow on the weekly is still coming out. We're still below our 50-week moving average. I'm going to give you guys those next big targets above 97.5. One of them being the 50-week moving average, sitting at about 101.7. We can see these relief rallies give us significant pumps before eventually rolling over and continuing the larger downtrend, which would be the anticipation here, even with the hidden bullish divergence. Yes, this is bullish, but that does not override the trending nature of the money flow. Just like we show in 2021, literally the exact same scenario. I'm not saying it has to play out like this. Of course, it's not impossible to see something different play out here, but my base case based off the technicals here, there's your higher lows. There's your lower lows. I was just talking about this with the premium Discord. We covered this on the live stream on Friday as well. There's your hidden bullish divergence. Yes, that is bullish. I know people sometimes get confused. You said that's bullish, but you're also still bearish. It's all about time frames, guys. The overall context here is, yes, this is bullish. We have seen retracements there. This is not uncommon to see. This was a 46-ish% rip to the upside. That does not change the higher time frame context. It didn't change it here. It won't change it in our current price action. The overall anticipation is probably a retracement until proven otherwise for a potential lower high and one more capitulation to come in. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We got a little bit of green candles popping up on the chart. I'm not going to cover the bearish case too much, but I just want to kind of remind you guys, higher time frames still have not changed yet. Yes, we do have some money flow flipping back into the green here on the 5-day. This is not enough for me to say it's a complete fake out. Is it better than having it continue into the red? Yes, but this could potentially just be a little bit of a fake out, right? We've been in the green here for quite some time. Massive green money flow wave. We just got the crossover into the red. If we look previously here, last bull market, we cross into the green, massive green wave. Once you start flipping red again, it's typically a significant indication, right? Same thing on the weekly, right? Weekly money flow is still just trending out. But the 4-day, still in the red. 3-day, trying to come up. 2-day trying to come up, and even the 6-day starting to fake out back into the green here. But again, not looking at this, at least as of right now, as, oh my God, money flows back in the green, all-time highs, right? Because again, you have to anticipate potential fake outs here. back into the red, right? Because the overall trend is still to the downside. We would really need to see this come up very aggressively to indicate all-time highs. And again, I don't want to say that's impossible, but it's not my base case as of right now. As soon as I see a reason to start calling for all-time highs and a real flip on the technicals, I will be the first person to let you know. But this is nice, right? Nice little pop-up. We were hoping to get some relief here. And, of course, we are starting to see some of the altcoins move. Of course, XRP getting a massive pump to the upside. Long term, right? Still opportunities to put in a macro lower high and a lower low. But nice to see this relief come in. This is exactly what we were hoping for. Bitcoin goes into a retracement. Dominance continues to drop down. And dominance, just a quick little update there. Of course, we took a look at the high time frame red dots printing there. 4-day red dot was printing last week. We had the 5-day red dot. These were also accompanied by blood diamonds, which are typically bearish, which is what you would want for dominance, for your altcoins to pump, right? You got the blood diamond, you got the red dot. You also have money flow coming out. Am I calling for a god tier alt season? I'm not going to say it's impossible, but that's not my base case. Again, I've covered this a lot. Bitcoin goes into the retracement. If dominance can continue down, that's where you're hoping for some kind of opportunity for the altcoins, right? Like gives the altcoins a little bit of time to shine. But I am going to be looking at that in a retracement fashion at first, right? We have to be cautiously optimistic. To be clear, the high time frames, right? It's like very similar to this. Just compare it to this, right? 50%, almost a 50% move to the upside. Yes, that is bullish, but it didn't change the long-term scenario here with money flow coming out. I could have been wrong here, right? Obviously, we were right because the higher probability was to put in a lower high and a lower low as your money flow was coming out. But of course, that's not guaranteed either, right? It could have been wrong. We could have flipped the 50-week moving average, and we could have gotten a massive rip into new all-time highs. It wasn't impossible. It was just lower probability, and of course, the probabilities were on our side there. Same exact situation here. I pulled this fractal 100 times. Just pull your, right? I'm not saying it has to play out exactly like this. I'll just kind of, whoops, right? Very similar situation. Right, so, 50-week moving average. Once we get up there, right, wake me up when we get to the 50-week moving average. If we see things still starting to look good, we do have some upper targets. And for me personally, to start calling for all-time highs, guys, we need to flip, number one, the 50-week moving average, sitting again at about 101.7. And then, we have a lot of resistance ahead of us, right? We have let me pull up the macro range real quick. We still have the value area high at $115,000. And, the real line in the sand for me personally is like, if you get above the 50-week moving average, it's not impossible to do something like this, right? We have to be careful for the lower highs and lower lows. Where are lower highs and lower lows likely to format? Well, we have to look at the Golden Pocket 786 retracements. The full fib, the full Golden Pocket, sits between about $106,000 and $108,000. This is also confluent with one of our value areas, right? So you do have a lot of confluence up there. But even if we got a big move up to about 115K, I'd start feeling a lot better depending on what money flow looked like up there. Maybe we could start talking about a fake out. But you really got to get above that 786. That is the real technical level. It sits at about 115K. Once we get above there, right, because if you're looking for a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, or a lower high and a lower low on the Golden Pocket 786, it's not until you flip that 786 where it really starts to look good for all-time highs. So just to kind of manage expectations, right, it's very nice to see this pump, but not getting ahead of ourselves here, right? We still have a lot of work to do. And of course, when we look at 2021, we never even really made it. I'm not talking about 115K yet because even back here, we didn't even get up to the Golden Pocket, right? We actually wound up rejecting the local Fibonacci retracement right here, right? And I would kind of compare that to this Golden Pocket right here at about 101, confluent with the 50-week moving average. And then also with the price action we have here specifically, we could also look at this Golden Pocket right here, which is confluent with the POC, which is the exact zone that we've been talking about and looking for, and the one I just brought up in the beginning of the stream, right? So there's many different levels that we could put this lower high in at, but just to kind of show you guys where it starts to get really exciting, it's like, let's break out of this volume profile, right? And then hold above the low, right? POC. If we have the daily money flow continue into the green, we could potentially look for higher lows and higher highs. Once we flip that point of control, 50-week moving average comes in, and then we'll see, right? It's proven never one time were we able to get above this level in a context like this. So if we see that happen for the first time, we can start to reassess the situation and say to ourselves, well, now we can look up between about, I would say, $108,000 to $110,000, and then even when we get above there, you got to fight the 786 and the value area high. So we do have a lot of levels to get above here, but it is nice, right? If we do see relief, we could see a significant relief rally. Even if we go up to test that 50-week moving average from where we are right now, that's like another 8% pump. We'll see what happens, right? And then, of course, we'll analyze the price as we push in there. If it looks good, we'll be able to look for higher prices. If it looks like trash and we're shorting it, you guys will know because we'll be up here telling you live. So there you go. Now, one thing, I'm not just going to look at, this is the macro profile. This is not the base profile that I'm looking at, to be honest, right? Because, again, we want to look at the tangible levels. So right now, POC remains the same, about 96 to 97K, call it. But this is the profile I'm going to be looking at until we get above the 50-week moving average, right? Because, again, stay above the low. POC, door to the POC is open. Once you flip the POC, you could look for the full rotation to the value area high, which obviously, as you can see, has a ton of confluence here, right? You have the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. You have the 50-week moving average. And then, of course, if we pull our Fibonacci retracement from the lower high to the low, you have the golden another golden pocket in there as well, right? So this is, I'll give you these levels. Value area low on this range sits at $92,162. POC sits at about 96.7, and then the value area high 50-week moving average anchored VWAP golden pocket sits between about 101.2 all the way up to about 103.4K, almost 103,500. So this is what I'm going to be looking at. If we break up here and we start cooking, we'll turn this range off and we'll pull up the bigger range, which brings us up to 107 to 108K. We start breaking above that, starts to look pretty good. Then we could pull up the macro profile and say, hey, maybe we could start looking for that 786 retracement to 115. We're going to take it level to level, step by step. There's no reason to start looking at 115K here, as we're not even playing with the 50-week moving average. I hope that's the case, but of course, I don't want to overload you guys with a million different levels. So the levels to have on your chart right now is going to be this volume profile. You can see the targets here, or the value area low, the POC, and the value area high here. You can mark these off on your chart. That's what I'm going to be looking at. And of course, $89,000 being a key level of support to hold. Of course, it's not going to be the only level that we want to hold. There's no guarantee we're going to get a full retracement down to 89K. So if we do not see that bigger retracement, I would be watching about 92,300 local volume profile or local value area low. Could be another level to hold, right? And you can even see it's been very important, right? So we got a few different ranges to look at, but this is to the upside. This is what I'm looking at just because it's tangible, right? We're not looking up to 115K yet. We got to get above all this major resistance. And I would say the most important level on the chart right now that you need, if you don't have any other level on your chart to the upside, the biggest one to look at is that 50-week moving average. You can pull up your indicators, type in 50-week moving average. I don't know who made this. I have no affiliation. It's free. Weekly and daily SMA, 50, 100, 200. Get this on your chart, and it will automatically pull that level up for you. So there you go. All right, let's see. Can we take a look at ETH? Yeah, we'll take a look at ETH in just a second. Shout out to Christian Mel. I can't even read that out loud. Welcome in, brother. Good to have you in here. If we do go down to the 89K level, surely we wick down to fill the CME gap at 88,502. Shout out to James. It's something to pay attention to, right? CME gaps are oftentimes filled. I wouldn't get caught up in the idea that the CME gaps have to fill. Of course, once you get closer, they get higher and higher probability to fill. So in that case, yes, you can look for that. Absolutely, right? So let me pull up that macro profile again. And again, right, like the reason I like this is because it is confluent, right? You pull from where we start to get impulsive to the high. You got your golden pocket, your 786, which with that daily money flow coming into the green, if we're hoping, right, if this daily trend's going to continue, maybe we get the daily red dot. Boom, higher low, higher high. Maybe we come up into the golden pocket 50-week moving average, right? And that would be a very, very important level to hold. I'm not going to cover, like, all the lower levels. Like, I don't want to overload you guys. Like, we might not even get down there tonight. We'll cover that when it becomes a little bit more relevant. But, like, in general, right? And, again, the daily MPOCs as well I'll pull up. Daily MPOC brings you down to about 87.3, but like you really just want to hold on to this low. And again, preferably, we don't have to lose the actual value area low 786. If we slip it, you got a little backup support there on the daily. You also have the daily MPOC in there as well, right? You want to find those high areas of confluence. That daily and the MPOC are very close to each other. You got a lot of support down here. So, you're hoping just generally, if you get the pullback, you hold inside this range, and then we could see the higher high. That's if we don't just push up from here. So there you go. And again, I don't want to overload you guys. Just look at it from a volume profile perspective. Give yourself a little room, and that would be what we would look for, right? If we wind up losing it and we can't get back into the range, well, that's where we can start to talk about a little bit more of a bearish situation. But again, with this money flow coming up, it seems good, right? It seems okay. So let's see here. I think we'll see a minor pullback until tether dominance tests the 21 SMA on the 4-hour at resistance. If it rejects, BTC probably continues up. Shout out to Dave Hagen. I kind of just look at Bitcoin USDT dominance as an upside down Bitcoin chart. It's like an inverse Bitcoin chart. All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to Gen Z. Erica with the Frankie Candles hat. PFP. Everybody loving that profile picture. Shout out to Erica, CandleMafia chick, repping the Frankie Candles hat. I love it. It looks like she's got the, I can't see what color that is. Looks like maybe the gray and black, potentially. Let me know, Erica. Let me know. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob in the chat. It is his birthday, guys, as he does have a birthday every single day. We got Jesse in here holding it down. Tony D. Tyler Durden's probably somewhere in here. Show the mods some love, guys. Let's see. Yeah, don't forget to shout out to Christian Mello. Don't forget to smash the like button, guys. Christian Mello's out of pocket. Don't forget to smash the like button, guys. It will help Bitcoin's price action almost 1-to-1. Higher the likes, higher the price goes. You guys know how it goes. Shout out to Jen Friend Law says, shout out to Frankie Candles. Keep up the good work, my brother. Have a like on me, brother. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the like. Tony D is indeed lurking. Tony D was traveling, so he got home super late last night, so he might be nodding off at the desk, but it's okay. He always shows up. All right, so I do want to take a quick look at the altcoins. I think we covered the support, right? I mean, if we have to get the bigger pullback, just watch the $89,000 value area low. And let me actually pull up the CME chart real quick. Where's it at? My watch list moved all around here, so let's see here. Yeah, it depends on how you pull your CME gaps, whether you're looking at the ETH or the RTH. But we are currently, come on down a little bit here. Yeah, this is RTH. You have a gap filling to the body here at about 90,000. Let me get that exact level here. 90,190. So that is another gap. So it all kind of comes in that very, very similar level, $89,000 to $90,000, just where all that kind of confluence is. And it's just nice to see a CME gap pop in around there as well. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it for you guys. And let me just set some alerts here in case we do get a move. Set it above the high. And I am in a scalp short as well, guys, with my stop just above this wick high. I'm not saying it's time to short right now, but we did see a little bit of a swing failure pattern up here of a wick that we've been waiting for quite some time. So let me just mark that out real quick. Bada boom. Come on. Grab the trend line. There's the wick. Bada boom. So there we are, right? Little wick above, candle closure down below, sweeper, bada boom, right? So maybe we'll get a little pullback off of that. That is what I am short from. I'm going to set an alert here in case we break that. But real quick, I do want to check in on some of the altcoins. Obviously, Ethereum did. There we are, right? Ethereum, we took a look at this on Friday. I believe we were pushing up towards our key level of resistance here. All levels that we've been looking at forever, just throughout all this chop. You just have no choice but to have these levels sit up here and just patiently wait for them to get tapped. But we held above the value area low. That's your major key level of support, right? If we lost this, very likely to see that big move down, or relatively big move down towards about 2674. We were able to hold this, right? Just like on Bitcoin, we had the money flow attempting to come up on the daily. As you can see, generally trending to the upside. You stay above the value area low. And at the end of the day, right, the main target here within the profile, reclaim the value area low, stay above. That keeps the doorway open into the point of control of the range. Once you reclaim value area low, the next likely place for price to eventually go is the point of control, which currently sits at about 33.40. And that is also confluent with our 786, which is the two levels we were looking at, right? Golden Pocket, 786. Golden Pocket kind of hanging out by itself here. 786 confluent with the POC. Eventually, had a lot of patience there, but you had to wait. We did come into the Golden Pocket. Got a little bit of resistance. Now we're above the Golden Pocket. So the next, plausible or the next, what's the word I'm looking for? Relevant target would be the 786 to the POC, sitting between about 33.40, and the 786 comes in at about 33.04. So there you go, right? Ethereum pushing into its next target. Not really much of an update there, right? Other than that, daily money flow in the green. Same anticipation as Bitcoin. VWAP is coming down, so if we do get a cool off, right, whether we come up to the 786 or wind up closing the daily candle under here and getting a pullback, we're hoping for higher lows and higher highs, and I would say it is valid to look for that. When you have your money flow in the green, this does indicate the overall trend. The red dots and the green dots indicate the ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows. The money flow indicates the trend, right? Money flow is trending up generally. We get a green dot. You get a little ebb. Maybe we get a little flow on the next red dot, which would print once we get that VWAP to cross the 0 line. As always, on Market Cipher B, but definitely valid to be looking for higher lows there because of the money flow, as long as it stays in the green. Hopefully, it's not a fake out. If this is a fake out, guys, oh, man, it's like hopefully we're leaving the choppy price action. But if this fakes back out, oh, my God, that would be absolutely brutal. But, the anticipation here, money flow indicates the overall trend. It is valid to be looking for higher lows and higher highs. And that is what I'll be paying attention to. And, of course, as long as we stay above this value area low, sitting at 28.91, we can keep the doorway open into the POC of the range. It wouldn't be until we lost this level that I would anticipate a much bigger drop to the downside. So things looking a little bit better, a little bit more positive, right? And it's all in line with the idea that Bitcoin can hopefully get the retracement, dominance can continue down, and of course the altcoins would have a little bit of a time to shine. XRP obviously getting a pretty nice move to the upside. We talked about this last week as I think it was Wednesday or Thursday as we were testing around this. Wednesday when we were testing this 786. Super dangerous situation, right? Because if we lost this, we were looking at the visible range volume profile, which makes it very easy to see where you have significant volume, right? Or not easy to see, but it just shows you where the volume is. If we were unable to hold that 786, guys, very likely fast drop to 153 down to 140, right? This would be like the next significant area of support. So it's like if we didn't hold this, very likely fast drop down. We held it by the skin of our teeth where we had our next upper targets. Number one was the value area low of the range, just viewing this as a volume profile. Very simple. You're above the high, you break back in with money flow in the red, even just on the daily here. The anticipation is go to the POC, lose the POC, go to the low. You have the deviation below the volume profile. You even had a little bit of bullish divergence down here on the daily, like an exaggerated bull div on the daily. We didn't get it on the 2-day. We didn't get it, or we got a little bit on the 3-day. But this is where we needed the bounce from. And thank God we got the bounce, right? And once you break above that value area low, where are those next targets for price, right? Number one, flip the value area low. It opens up the door to the point of control of the range, which right now sits at about 241. We also had another level here, which I actually hid as I was on the premium live stream. Not really relevant now because we've already smashed through it, but we had another high volume node. I believe it was sitting, pull up the VPVR so I could pull it up for you. Sitting right here, it was sitting at about like 221, right? So you had, this was an old POC, also just a high volume node. That was target number one. Target number two would be sitting up here towards the POC where we have confluence on the golden pocket, 786 retracement. This is a major resistance zone. Sitting between 229, which we're already above, all the way up to about 247. Now, we also have, shout out to, I forgot who said it in the premium live stream, but 50-week moving average also sits in there as well. I don't necessarily pay as much attention to the 50-week on the altcoins, but it is still a very, very significant level of support and resistance, and obviously flipping that would indicate that maybe we have a macro trend change, but it is also very confluent with these major resistance levels, right? So POC, 786, 50-week moving average, coming in, 247, definitely going to be a resistance level. But if we get up here and we get a rejection, it's kind of the same thing, right? Daily money flow, not as close to crossing into the green as everything else, but it is trending up here. So if we can keep this money flow coming into the green, if we get cool-offs, guys, and money flow is coming up, I'll have no choice but to look for higher lows and higher highs. Once we flip the 786 and the 50-week moving average into support, this would indicate that we're above the POC. Next likely place for price to go could be the value area high sitting at 287. Plain and simple. Those are the biggest levels. Break 247, flip it to support. 284 could be next, right? Does this change my high time frame view? Is XRP about to go to $100? Not necessarily, right? Your weekly money flow is still not only crossing into the red, but it's also generally trending out. Still going to be viewing this as a retracement until proven otherwise. We have to be careful for lower highs and lower lows. We have to be still careful up at this value area high for higher lows, lower highs and lower lows. I think I said higher lows. But this value area high is also confluent with your macro Fibonacci retracement. It wouldn't be until we broke above 306 decisively with money flow absolutely ripping to the upside where I would be calling for all-time highs. Until then, it is still a retracement situation. Doesn't mean it can't change, right? But until that happens, until we actually see something happen, flip that 786, that's where we'd be able to call for new all-time highs. Until then, could still just be a lower high. We have to be aware of that. With this high, not for no reason, right? High time frame money flow crossing into the red. So there you go. Crypto Billy in the chat. What is going on, Billy? Welcome in. Good to see you here, brother. Hopefully you had a great weekend, and hopefully you're enjoying these green candles. Hopefully they can last for a little bit longer. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Shout out to Jesse. Said, guess what my Apple Watch told me? Low sleep score. Shout out to Jesse. Hey, we talked about me not drinking water on Friday, guys. We got the water today. We didn't replace the coffee, but we added water. Let me just double check these super chats real quick. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, shout out to Regular Guys Trades, bro. He said, took many beatings and still learning. I am proud to have my first 3K day. Might not be much for many, but that is a huge amount for me. Thank you. Shout out to Regular Guys Trades. Dude, I think that's big for a lot of people, and it didn't matter if it was $3,300 or $3, bro. A win is a win. You're making progress. That's what I love to hear, and let us know. We're using the volume profiles. Did you learn from us? Are you trading your own strategy? Let us know, but either way, congratulations to you, bro. This is what I like to see. Progress in the Candle Mafia is the main goal of this YouTube channel, so these are my favorite things to see. And shout out to Ray. Thank you for the super chat. Said, Frankie, where is the best place to sell your crypto as crypto dot, you have to make over 10% swing just to break even. Shout out to Ray. I don't know. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know if I fully understand the question. The best place to sell your crypto as crypto dot. The best place to sell your crypto is going to be the very broad question, right? It's going to be dependent on many things. Your entry, it's dependent on a ton of things. So I'm not sure if I 100% answer the question. If you give me, you don't have to send a super chat. You can just put it in the free chat. Give me a little bit more information. I'll try to give you the best answer I possibly can. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. Said, oh yeah, Frankie, you got to finish that whole water before the stream. Also, you could chase it with caffeine. It'll just be diluted. Shout out to Gen Z. Yes. We're going for longevity in 2026, guys. I'm not trying to overload my heart. I was definitely on that road. But shout out to Starbucks. That's huge, man. Congrats. Yeah, shout out to Big Huggies. Regular Guy Trades, bro. Like, for real. Pat yourself on the back, bro. It's gigantic. And listen, don't let that get to your head, right? If you don't make 3K on the next trade or you don't make 3K in the next month, don't let it get into your head, right? You don't want to let your losses affect you too much. You also don't want to you don't want to get too upset about the losses. You don't want to get too excited about the wins. Celebrate it, but don't let it get into your head. Don't get cocky. Don't think, oh, now I can risk more. Just keep trading with what you're trading with. Sometimes you'll get the 3K trade. Sometimes you'll get a $300 trade, $5 trade, whatever it is. Take what the market will give you. And in this case, it was 3K in a day. Love to see it, bro. Love to see it. Coffee for life. Shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, Jesse. I really got to stop. It's staining my teeth so bad. I got to go to the dentist and get my teeth whitened again. Christian Mella said, Frankie dumps his water on my white T-shirts. Good Lord. Shout out to Christian Mella. But anyway, let's continue on. Diluted water. We can't dilute the coffee. We have to dilute the water. Yeah, we'll take a look at some more altcoins, but there we are, guys. Pushing into the golden pocket 786 on XRP. Will we make it to the point of control? 786, 50-week moving average. That's the next target. Just don't be surprised if we see a little turbulence there. But at the end of the day, we flip that with the money flow coming up. Next major target, just like this was the first major or second major target. First one was the value area low. Second one was up here. If we get above here, right, next major target going to be about 285. And then at that point, right, if we can start flipping up there, we can start talking about some much higher prices. All right, so we took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at XRP. We'll take a quick check-in on Solana. Solana just, honestly, not a huge update. Very similar to Ethereum, right? Next big target we've been looking at between 143 and 100 and, call it 145.50 at the point of control of the range. Same theory. Deviation below the low, right? We were looking at this on Friday or last week just in general. Deviation above the high, back into the range with money flow coming out, not even on the 3-day, but on the daily. Money flow comes out, you're inside your range. At that point, you can't get out of your range. Highest probability targets, POC. Eventually, lose the POC, come down to the value area low. We've now deviated below the volume profile, or the value area low specifically. This is where you want to look for longs, right? I'm not necessarily saying you have to go to all-time highs, but undervalued, overvalued, undervalued, overvalued, shorts, longs, shorts, longs, whether that's long for a scalp into the POC and a move back down or a fulfill the volume profile is contextual, right? Obviously, we do have a lot of resistance ahead. I'm not just instantly going to say value area high incoming. We haven't even gotten above the POC of the range, right? So we'll keep that in mind. Point of control sits at about 146.05. That's the next target for Solana. And of course, you did have the bullish divergences down here that we looked at. Lower lows, higher lows, right? Doesn't mean all-time highs necessarily, but it could give you a little bit of a bounce. When we take a look at the higher time frames, your 6-day money flow is still in the red. Your weekly money flow is still trending out. Yes, I know we're talking about higher targets. We're pumping. Oh my God, it's exciting. Yes, it is. But you have to understand the trending nature of this money flow. Just like we looked at on Bitcoin, it could just be a retracement before an overall lower high and a continuation down. But again, I don't want to cover the bearish scenario. That's long term, right, or longer term. Just want to make sure context is very important. Right, this could be bullish on the daily, bullish on the 4-hour, while still looking for macro retracements. Right, a daily uptrend could look something like this. Right, money flow also attempting to come up, not crossing into the green just yet. So you might see some turbulence, but once that crosses green, we could start to look for higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. That daily uptrend could look very nice, very bullish. That does not change the overall perspective of a potential lower high and lower low. Doesn't mean it's impossible to break to all-time highs, right? But from a money flow perspective, the higher probability would be to be on the watch for those lower highs to come in. So just be aware of that. Yo, shout out to BTC Bill, baby. Let's go. Gifted the 20 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much for doing that and your endless generosity to the channel and the Candle Mafia. If you just got a membership from BTC Bill, spam those Phoebe emojis, the goat emoji. We have a new Phoebe emoji. Or spam a golden emoji. Shout out to BTC Bill. Thank you so much for that, bro. Endlessly grateful for you, bro. He's been gifting like crazy lately. Must have sold some at the top, bro. Must have sold some at the top. Shout out to It's Happening, said just joined the premium, time to get to work. Shout out to It's Happening. Let's go, bro. Start on that beginner series on the YouTube channel. Free beginner trading course. Don't even need to be in the premium to get that, but start there, brother. Jump into the premium, and I'm excited to see you continue on your journey, man. Okay. Bitcoin dominance. We actually just checked Bitcoin dominance. If you just scrub back a little bit, brother, we went over it. High time frames still look bearish. And again, it fits into the longer term kind of thesis here where, hopefully we can see the retracement on Bitcoin, right? At least a little bit more of a retracement. We've seen it in the past. Same exact situation, right? Hidden bull divs on the weekly. Money flow still coming out, right? Pretty decent retracements. The big level that has proven impossible to get above has always been the 50-week moving average. So we'll start there with the biggest target, right, which sits at 101.7K, right? Or is it 100? Yeah, sitting about like 101 to 102K, right? It's obviously going to move as the price action bounces around. But yeah, like, let's get up here and we'll reassess the situation. This is the highest I'm willing to look for this retracement to go until we can reassess the price action. I'm not saying it can't go higher than that, but let's get here, right? If we can get up here, then we'll start to talk about a potential bigger continuation up. All right, let's see. Shout out to Ray. Thank you for the super chat. Said if I sell XRP, I get $1.69 a coin, but if I buy it, it's won't let me say the site name, but it's Crypto Dot. Shout out to Ray, bro. I want to help you out. I don't know if I know the answer to that question. Unfortunately, I don't want to give you bad information. Dang, I could try to look into that for you, bro, but I don't know if I have the answer for you. And again, I don't want to misguide you. So yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Good Good peeps. Love sharing. Shout out to OB1. Yo, shout out to Diaz said, Frankie Candles, so what's your dad doing with BTC? He's doing nothing. He's just, I'll tell you what my dad's doing right now with his BTC. He's going like this. He's sitting at his desk like this. He sold his BTC at like 125 something. So we'll see. If it winds up being that was the top and we do go into a deeper bear market, which, again, technically does look like the higher probability still, we'll see. That'll be like the second time that he sold the top almost perfectly. Oh, he wants a decent exchange to off-ramp. I don't know. It really depends. I usually off-ramp on Coinbase. So I can give you that. But I am also working with dollars. He's probably talking about the spread, eating into his profit, so he's got to make more than 10% profit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't. Crypto Dot, I guess, is the name of the exchange that you're on. Yeah, I don't know. I off ramp on Coinbase. I still don't know if I fully understand the question, and it bothers me because I like to answer every question, but sometimes I just don't have the answer. Shout out to James said, love how you keep it real, Frankie, with the money flow on the weekly, even though we want it to pump. Yeah, shout out to James. I want it to pump as well. And again, to be clear, right, and the reason, if we just go back in history, right, it's just always meant, right, there's literally no time at this point in the cycle with the loss of the 50-week moving average that we've been able to escape that 50-week, right? Every other time, it's been a bearish retest for a lower high and a lower low. What do we see there, right? Well, money flow is coming out. That would be the anticipation, right? Even back here, we break down, we get a little bearish retest here, money flow is coming out, bear market. Weekly money flow, in a more simple fashion, weekly money flow crossovers typically indicate the bear market, right? Now, I'm not anticipating necessarily a 75% dump for a traditional bear market. I do think that we do have a shot of seeing this play out a little differently. Not going to bet all my chips on that. We'll have to make the decisions off the charts once we get down to the key levels. But the reason I love the money flow is because it's directional, right? Although we're not crossing into the red just yet, it could be indicating, right? It's not oftentimes that you see money flow come out this deep, this late in the cycle after losing the 50-week. There's no point, zero. There's no example I can show you where we've gotten this situation to happen where we just flipped it and gone up. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means lower probability, right? Mark off any weekly money flow crossover. Sure, right? Money flow crosses over after the retracement. But it literally, like, as we're bouncing here, what does money flow look like? Come into bar replay mode to make it nice and simple. Super simple thing to look at. You don't even need to understand TA. Money flow comes out, trend is going to continue, is likely to continue to the downside. Doesn't mean instantly down, right? It just means the pumps, anytime you see money flow trending out or crossing into the red, it means those pumps are likely to fade into lower highs and lower lows. People hated me here, and I hated talking about it, right? Just like now, I'm sick. I just want this all to get over with because then we can start talking about price going up. I hate being the guy. I hated it back here because I want to tell people what they want to hear, but not if it's likely to lose them money, right? Not that you should listen to me. This is not financial advice. You should never just listen to anybody. You want to take information and make your own decisions. But, this is indicating, right, what's the anticipation here? Lower high, lower low is higher probability. And then eventually, sure, you can get the bounces to the upside, right? Oh, my God, super bullish. Oh, my God, we're bouncing. Look at this. Ooh, ooh. And eventually you hit it, and you get the lower high and the lower low. Money flow crosses red. Very likely to be a big capitulation, right? So very similar scenario. And I'm only going to keep it real here. And listen, as soon as it looks like we're going to all-time highs, I'll have no choice but to say that, right? I make my decisions off the chart. I'll never just come up here and be like, I really want price to pump, so I'm just, I want more likes, I want more views. I'll never do that, right? Because that's not good for the mafia. I want likes. I don't care if I tell you guys the wrong thing. And I'm not always right either, right? Like, we could just go to all-time highs. But, higher probabilities. And I'm going to stick with it's like up here, right? No one wanted to hear me say if we lose 108K, we're going to 90K and below. But that wound up being the right thing, right? I'm glad I stuck to my guns there and didn't just, give false hopium, right? When the chart says it, that's what I'm looking for. And more often than not, maybe 8 out of 10 times, it's going to be right. Sometimes it's going to fake out, but more often than not, it will be right. Continuing a little bit locally on Bitcoin, a little bit of a local push to the downside. Come on. In the scalp short here, so hopefully we can make a little bit on this. Come on, give me a little juice here. Give me a little juice here. If we can go down to I don't even need 89K. I really don't. But if we could just get a little push, up like 250 on this right now. There she is. Look at the SFP. Love SFPs. Easiest and highest probability trading entry signal or entry confirmation that you could possibly use. Is it wrong that I want BTC to dip below 50K because I have patience for the bear market to get started? Yeah, shout out to Diaz. I like that, bro. I like that. It doesn't mean that we think, Bitcoin's going to go to, zero forever, right? It's not going to last forever. And just to give you guys an idea, if we do get a lower high and a lower low, two biggest areas to look at, right? We have a lot of confluence here. Here's your local Fibonacci retracement between the big zone that we're looking at like 95 to 97K, and then the 786 brings you up to 101 to 102K. If we just take off all the intermediary levels, the highest probability rejection areas for Bitcoin to put in a lower high are going to be here. Could be the lower high and the lower low on the 50-week, just like it was here. Lower high on the 50-week and your local Fibonacci retracement, right? Literally the same thing. 50-week, local fib. 50-week, local fib. That's, and again, just to give you the exact numbers here, 96 to 101, 260. If we get up here and things still look good, maybe the daily money flow looks like a higher low and higher high situation, we're going to continue up. Well, very simple. We're just going to look at the full Fibonacci retracement. There's no guarantee we get up here, though. Just like up here. Full golden pocket 786 was sitting all the way up here. We never got there. You had to get above the 50-week first, and that's why I'm not focused on 110 to 116K yet. We got to get above here first, right? Get above that 50-week, then we can start talking about 115K. Until then, got to be careful around this Fibonacci retracement. These are the two major zones. From a very simplified perspective, right? Of course, we have MPOCs, confluence in these levels, but you just want to be aware, very simply, here and here. Second one sits between about 106.4 up to about 115K. Once we flip this, well, hey, at that point, then maybe you can start looking for all-time highs, right? But there's just no guarantee we get up there. So there you go. Do you think the time frame for the deep bear should be about 1.5 to 2 years according to history? Not looking for extreme accuracy, just an average area. Shout out to OB1. I've actually talked about this recently. We covered it, I think, on maybe it was like Wednesday's live stream last week. We covered kind of like the two scenarios that I'm looking for. If we get the lower high and the lower low, similar to 2021, how low can we look, right? Well, number one, the first big area that I'll be looking at is going to be near our next major, where's it at? Volume profile, which of course sits down here between about 70 and call it 60K. Could deviate below that into the mid to low 50s, but at the end of the day, this is the first place I'll be willing to look. And it could change, right? Because again, calling for this time to be different just because there's no reason to really be bearish from a narrative perspective. Of course, there's reasons to be bearish. I screamed about them from the top of my lungs forever. Massive weekly bearish divergences, timing of the cycle, money flow coming out on the higher time frames. But other than that, right, just like in 2021, massive bearish divergences, money flow coming out on the higher time frames, but there's no narrative here, right? There's no reason for people to like give up hope or feel bearish other than the technicals, right? But a lot of people like to ignore the technicals and just be like, yeah, but, Bitcoin's more bullish than ever. And sure, right? Bitcoin's always bullish at the end of the day. If you look on a long enough time horizon, it goes up and to the right continuously. I agree with that, right? That's my main belief. But that does not mean that you can't go into these little bear markets. And there's no reason to really be scared here until we see Terra Luna collapse. And then at that point, right, everyone's thinking there's no reason to be bearish, high or low, send it to 100K. I mean, I think that was the general consensus back here in 2021 was we have to go to 100K. All the influencers were looking at that. Whatever the reason was, I don't know why they had to do it then, like why we had to go to 100K then. And it was kind of a hard call for me here, guys, because everybody's looking for higher lows, right, which we had, which is definitely valid. 100K incoming, 100K incoming, and I just see these signs on the charts. Massive bearish indications. We have the blood diamond on the weekly here. money flow coming out. I know that's a higher probability for a big drop, and I kind of had to go against the herd, and people did not like it. I'm really glad I stuck to my guns there, but the once you get the narrative to come in, that's where everyone's like, all right, fine, now we're entering a bear market, send it to 3K, right? And at that point, it's already too late, right? You've already gotten the main capitulation, and then you're just kind of in this accumulation zone, and then they're late for the next cycle. Right? This is the opportunity, not up here. This is the opportunity. So you want to pay attention if we do get that next big capitulation. And the big level I will be looking at, let's say we maybe get the retracement, we come out, we get the bigger dump down here. This is that next first big area. And again, saying this time is different for no reason is one thing. Saying this time is different because we're starting to print a ton of money and you actually get a new Fed chair in that's a lot more dovish, pro-crypto, wants to pump the markets. They have every incentive to do that. That would be something that's actually different, right? So if and it would still have to line up with the charts, right? If we start seeing bullish news and the chart still looks like trash, I'm still going to go with the charts. But if we see the massive money printing, we see bottom signals, we will be open to maybe an early bear market ending where it's not going to take until what would be expected to be like October. If I pull up the cycle chart here real quick, we have it all marked out. When you would generally, based off the 4-year cycle or based off history, like you said, where is it at? Right here, right? Nope. Right. You would expect it to come in somewhere in October 2026, but that's if the 4-year cycle repeats exactly how we've seen in the past. This is a scenario that can play out, right? You could just pull the fractal from the last cycle. If it plays out exactly like the previous cycles, something like this would be somewhat expected, right? Like somewhere in October you find a bottom. I'm hopeful that this won't be the case. I'm hopeful that maybe we can find an early bottom. I won't know if that's going to be a high probability until we get down here, right? Let's get down. If we get down here, we'll look at the price. We'll figure out what the charts are saying. We'll see what's happening macroeconomically. If there's a reason to call for maybe an early bottom, maybe we could start looking for that. I'll have no choice, right? Again, I won't be like, the 4-year cycle has to play out, right? Like if I see the signs here, I'll be looking for a bottom and a massive pump. But we just won't know because we don't have any information down here. So we'll see. Maybe if we get down here, start looking around March, April, May, right? I think the new Fed chair gets in May. So that would kind of line up potentially, right? Just being speculative here. And then, maybe something crazy happens. We get a black swan event or something. We get another capitulation. Maybe you see more of a traditional bear market come in. But first off, hoping something more like bottoming out here. And it could take a little bit of time to form that bottom, but hoping, maybe we don't have to go much, much lower than the previous all-time high. But if we get down there and it looks like trash, you'll see me up here saying, I don't know, guys, I'm looking for a lower high and a lower low into a much deeper bear market. But this is not my base case just yet. Hopeful for something down here to come in. If not, then we can look. It's an if this, then that situation. So there you go. Hopefully it helps you out. I made it to the live stream. Shout out to Astro Zombie. Welcome in. OG of the CandleMafia. Welcome in, brother. Happy to have you here. All right. Let's see. What's the yellow line called? Oh, you're probably talking about this one. 50-week moving average. That is the 50-week moving average. XRP is tanking. Got me. Dang it. I want the cheap Bitcoin. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. And even if we did go into the bigger, more bearish scenario, guys, just understand, right? Like, I'm never in the camp that this thing's going to zero. I would see this all as opportunity, for sure. Shout out to Dean. Says, in 2021, the herd wasn't looking at the 50-week moving average. Now everyone's watching it. Do you think that makes a difference? So here's the thing. You're thinking correctly. Does it, sometimes I will think like, all right, listen, if everybody's watching this 50-week moving average, is that make it a little less likely to play out? Maybe, right? You can call it like a little bit of a crowded trade. Seems a little too easy to be like, oh, it's definitely going to reject here. Let's just short that thing into the bear market. Maybe. But the way I handle that is if we get up here and I see the technical confirmations for a dump, I will be basing that off the chart. If the herd tends to agree with that, that's fine. If the herd disagrees with it, I would be like, typical, right? Herd usually disagrees, and they're usually wrong. They are right sometimes, too. So that alone doesn't change it. But I maybe wouldn't be surprised if we get up here and there's no real confirmations to look for the big dump. And then maybe Get them really excited. We're back above the 50-week. Oh, my God, the big level everyone's watching didn't send us down. Now we're going to all-time highs. But we know that there are also other really, really, really big levels we have to watch. Again, bringing up those Fibonacci retracements, right? Maybe, oh, my God, we're above it. Reject the 786. Or maybe you really want to cause max pain. Maybe it's, oh, my God, we're above the 50-week moving average, bull run commence, and then you just reject that 786, right? Again, for me, it's not until you crack that 786 at about 115K where I can confidently say that all-time highs are likely. If things look really good at the 50-week, maybe we could say it's a little bit of a higher probability to break out. But until we break, like this is an area, this is the last place to look for the lower high. So it is possible to come all the way back up here and then send it back down. There's a lot of levels in between here. So it's not just the 50-week. But, yeah, maybe we do see that. Maybe we get above it, get everyone excited. Oh, my God, it's amazing. Get everybody really hopeful, and then black swan them to the bottom. We'll see. We'll see. Sui, absolutely. So let's run through some of these other altcoins. I'm just going to check in on stuff that we just recently checked in on. Dogecoin was something that we looked at last week. Getting the bounce off the 786 with the bullish divergences. Smash through the daily MPOCs. I'll take this off the chart. I'll take that off the chart. Next major target still does remain the value area low, sitting right here. Call it between 16 cents, right? This would be a major level to reclaim. If we come up here, right, definitely big resistance. But if we can get this daily money flow to cross green, well, maybe on the pullback, we can start to look for higher lows and higher highs. Flip the value area low. Now you're opening up the target of the POC. Does this change? And again, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here, right? But technically the doorway would be open to the POC, but we still have tons of resistance on the way up there. So let's get up to the value area low first, and we'll reassess the situation. But I will just say, 16 cents would be a really, really big level to flip to support. Until then, it is major resistance. If we get a pullback, and money flow starts to cross into the green, we can look for higher lows and higher highs. Where would I be looking for the higher lows and higher highs? Simply on your Fibonacci retracement. I mean, this would be for a full retracement. I can't guarantee you'll get that full pullback, but between about, call it 13 cents down to about 12.32. Of course, you could pull up local retracement levels as well, but I'm going to keep it nice and simple for you guys here. That would be the full retracement. So, and of course, if we move up, you would have to pull that fib to the new high. So we'll see. Well, that's still the next target between 16.1617 and 0.16714. 16 cents. And of course, right, looking at it from a volume profile perspective, you're below the value area. This is undervalued, right? You see some of those bullish divergences starting to form here on the higher time frames, higher lows, lower lows into your key level of support. Also, just like XRP, saved by the skin of its teeth. Look for the bounce, right? And then this is going to be key resistance. If we get accepted back into here, we can start looking at some higher targets. Eventually, with a not a final target, but an eventual target of the point of control. But again, I don't want to get too carried away here just yet. Same thing on Cardano, right? Well, there we are. There's the target we were looking at on Cardano last week. Fibonacci retracement. We slipped the 786. We got back above it. We saw the high time frame bull divs. Again, does this mean that I'm looking for all-time highs? No, not right now. But could be the retracement, right? Significant retracements can come in before that one last slam to the downside. We're still within our volume profile here. These POCs oftentimes lose the high. Next likely place for price to go, POC. Once you lose the POC, not always do you just reject the POC and go to the low. You can see turbulence here. At the end of the day, you could even get a retracement into your value area high before coming back down. But from a high time frame perspective like the weekly, money flow is still in the red. You can still look for lower highs and lower lows, and we're currently pushing into the next target that we were looking at. I don't even think it was on Friday. It was, last Wednesday when XRP was kind of slamming into it 786, right? Pull from the high to the low. There's your golden pocket 786. This sits between 42 cents and 45 cents, right? So let's get above here, right? There's going to be major resistance whether we reject here or the 786, but daily money flow, let's hope this continues up on these other altcoins, right? Then we can maybe look for higher lows and higher highs. But again, a nice daily trend, that would look bullish. That does not change the overall outlook of potential lower highs and lower lows. Big pumps, not all big pumps are created equal, right? When you get a, for Cardano here, 30% pump, very nice pump, right? Can't argue that. But when you get a 30% pump after even just locally here, not locally, but from the last lower high after a 67% dump to the downside, right? Like this is not Cardano is breaking out, right? Maybe locally it's breaking out, but the high time frame context could still be viewed as potential lower highs and lower lows. And at the end of the day, as long as you're within this volume profile, the high probability is for this to fill in full. It wouldn't be until we break out of this volume profile, and even then, as we've covered, you still have a major golden pocket 786 retracement. Here you have a ton of resistance ahead. But locally, let's look up towards, call it 45 cents. That would be the next local target that you can look at. And then if we start flipping that, we can look for this local trend to continue up. Someone said Sui's getting a big move. Let's take a look at it. Take a sip of the Aztecian Cactus Moss Water. Shout out to Wick589. No! Naughty! You have to finish your first Black Swan before you're allowed to have another. Shout out to Wick. No multiple Black Swans. Only one Black Swan per flock. Shout out to Alex. Said just packed a bowl of hash graph. A little bit of H-bar. Let's go. Let's see. Black Swan 'em to the bottom. That's what I'll call it from now on. Just Black Swan 'em, Black Sheep 'em, whatever you want to call it. Can we get a Frankie's Dad indicator to complement the indicator, to complement your indicator, of course? Shout out to Diaz. Yes, I will start a not Satoshi, Frankie Candle's dad emoji indicator for the bottoms and the tops. I'll let you guys know. When my dad starts buying back in, I'll let you know. And hey, he could be wrong too. He's got a pretty good track record, but he could be wrong too. Shout out to Kalia. Said, are you watching the 15-minute money flow with the 4-hour red dot for continuation? Shout out to Kalia. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to Kalia. Call your dad live on stream, bro. Shout out to Rudy. My dad will be visiting me soon, and I'm going to see if he'll come on stream. I don't know if he'll want to, but if he does, I'll have him come in here and at least say what's up, and I'll ask him his opinions, and maybe he'll just stand off camera and tell me what to say, because he's definitely not doing that right now. I'm definitely not a puppet for Godfather candles. I swear. Anyway. All right, let's continue on. H-bar TA for the boys. Shout out to Alpha Vision. Yes, we could do that. I'm going to take a look at Sui real quick, and then we'll jump into H-bar. Sui, I mean, same. Here's the thing, guys. Like with the altcoins, right? Like they all move together, right? Of course, you're going to have some altcoins that look slightly different, but for the most part, right? Like they're all going to move together. What do we have here? 786 retracement. We can take the golden pocket off, because that's ran through. But there's your 786. There's your value area high. That's your next major level of support. We get down here. You have exaggerated bull divs, right? You have like kind of the equal lows with your higher lows, still a bullish divergence. But this is the key level to hold, right? Not only a level to look for a bounce, but it's just your major, it's very important, not just a level to bounce off of, but like if we had lost this and got accepted back into this range, very high probability you're going to get accepted into your previous profile and get the bigger drop down. Biggest support level underneath you, if you break back into that range, still sits at about 45 cents at the POC, weekly naked point of control, value area low. This is why I love the volume profiles. Right now, we're just kind of in between the two major profiles. You have one here, you have one here, right? So the doorway to lower prices is $1.32. We break back down in here, can't get out with money flow coming out, right? Very high probability you're going to come back down and fill this range. Now we're just in the middle. If we bounce to the upside, right, we have the golden pocket 786 up here. I'll make this a little bigger, right? Golden pocket 786, value area low confluence. We all know this value area low is going to be key resistance until proven otherwise. And it is also confluent with your golden pocket 786, which is an area that you can look for a lower high, right? Maybe if we do get the move all the way up here, maybe you get the retracement, could look for a lower high and a potential lower low to eventually get back into this range. And, that would be in the case of Bitcoin getting a retracement, a lower high, and the lower low comes in with the weekly money flow coming out. If that all plays out the way it looks, that is something you can look for here on Sui. This major zone of resistance. So the biggest levels to watch, I'll just give you the value area high, $1.32. You got to hold on top of that level. Not just a random level of support, right? You get accepted in here, you're now back within previous value. High probability of the fill. You also have this big wick that you could look to fill. And then your next major level of support is all down here. Everything else has been ran through by this wick. So could be a fast drop. If we get to move up, right, biggest zone to look at is going to be sitting up here. So support, $1.32. As long as we stay above there, could be good for a continuation up through the kind of in between these two ranges. If you get the move up, I'd be looking between about 232 and the 786 at about 263. Got to be careful here because it could be a lower high before continuing down. If you can flip that 786, well, to be quite honest, you don't really have a lot above you, right? You kind of have a low volume gap. If you get in here, flip the value area low to support, break above the 786, maybe you could target the POC of the range sitting at 346. Again, I don't want to get too carried away. But at the end of the day, if we pull from the high or the last significant high to the low, even the POC up here, still areas to put in lower highs at, right? Like even if you have to get above the first, this is just the local, like the first real retracement we can look at. Tangible, right? Like you can look at, we're probably hitting a local fib right now. I could probably assume it's this one. Yeah, you're currently hitting a hyper local fib. But if you get above here, right, like the next real level to look at of this entire leg is up here. If you get above that, sure, you can start looking towards that POC of the range, but you do have the golden pocket in the 786. So it's not like if you get above here, it's all-time highs, right? You have to be careful. And I know it gets confusing with the Fibonacci retracements because you can pull them from so many different places. But you could just kind of look at it very simply. Just look at the Fibonacci retracements without everything else on the chart. All right, technically, you could pull it from here to here. I mean, the liquidation wick really just kind of muddies up the water. But at the end of the day, right, breaking above 428, that's the real indication that you could see new all-time highs. Until then, you got that fib, you got this fib, and you got the one that we're looking at, which I believe is this one. All right, so these are all big resistance levels. And it doesn't mean that you have to short every single one. You get up here, what's happening, right? Does it look bullish? Does it look bearish? Does it look like we're going to continue up? If it does, sit on your hands, wait for the next target, which would be the golden pocket. Getting the rejection there, does it look bearish? Do you have any confirmations? If no, you patiently wait for the big level, the next big level, right? And then, again, really up here at about 434, that's really where I'd be looking for all-time highs. That's not my anticipation is not to see all-time highs, but we'll see. Again, with the dominance looking as bearish as it does, we'll see what that retracement can give us on Bitcoin. If the dominance continues to drop, right, maybe you can see a little bit of the altcoins start to shine. I just don't know if it's going to be, the alt season everybody's looking for. I would just right now be looking at them as retracements until proven otherwise. If we get the all-time high rip, euphoric, massive alt season, again, in my opinion, not what I'm looking for, but if we do get that, hey, I got some alts in the red right now, and I'd be happy to see that happen. Shout out to Diaz said, okay, the ultimate stream would be Frankie's dad, and Golden with a guest appearance of Mrs. Candles. It will break YouTube. Shout out to Diaz. That would be lit. Shout out to Golden. It's actually funny. Golden texted me, or he messaged me, I think it was on New Year's, and he goes, I have a feeling we might get a little bit of a bounce here. And I was like, hey, send that money flow into the green on the daily. And here we are. It's almost like Golden knows something. Shout out to Crypto Billy said, +1 wick. I'm still holding. Long-term hold for me. I assume you guys are talking about XRP. Also a long-term hold for me as well. I will also say this, guys. I know everybody just wants the quick gains, which of course, trading. I want to be careful how I say that. Of course, crypto can get you quick gains. But I do just want to say, the more you start looking at crypto from a long-term perspective, the much more enjoyable it becomes, right? And the longer term kind of outlook that you have, the more calm you can be, right? Of course, my average entry price here, as I talk about a lot, is between $20,000 and $21-ish thousand. I've enjoyed this entire bull market. I took a little profit here, took some more profit here, more significant profit here, and of course, and transparently, I did not see Bitcoin tap because this is a false reality that people sell. Bitcoin did not tap $126,000, and I said that was the top and sold it. It's very hard to do that. Regardless of how experienced you are on TA, very difficult to do, right? Sometimes you get lucky. I've gotten lucky before, but it's very difficult to top tick big cycle tops like that. But what happens, right? We start to come down. I start to identify money flows coming out on the higher time frames. We start to test very, very important support, which was sitting here at the value area high at $108,000. When we see the chart looking like this, it's like, man, if we can't hold this as support and we break back into this range, we're looking for at least a move down to $90,000. And I remember there were a few people in the chat, right? The people who really only come around when price gets a big move. They're, this guy's a clown, thinks it's going to go under 100K. What a moron. And it's like, there we are, right? All the way down here and potentially going lower. But the reason I say that is because as I identify, oh my God, if we break down here, money flow is coming out, I'm looking for lower highs and lower lows, I take more profit on my spot Bitcoin bags. And I'm very happy I did that. I still am partially exposed to the market. If we wind up coming into new all-time highs, I'm still partially exposed. But the risk to reward was not there for me, right? When I've enjoyed this entire rip up, right? It makes no sense when I see all those bearish signs to not lock in the 500% gains that I've had for a small probability of coming into a new all-time high, even if it went to 160, even 200K or something, an extra 50% to risk my 500% profit for an extra little 50%. That is called greed, right? Now, again, I'm not totally out of the market. I still hold some of my Bitcoin. Some of my Bitcoin I'm going to hold for 10 years, right? So I will still be exposed. But like I have a long-term view on that, right? So it's like the longer your time horizon is, the more you can kind of hang out, right? If Bitcoin just like absolutely was here and just absolutely like just started melting down and hit 50K, at that point, am I locking in those losses, right? Or I would still be in the green technically, but I would have lost a lot of profit. At that point, I'm probably just like, hey, maybe we're in a bear market. I'm just going to hold for the long term. I do think in 10 years, Bitcoin is going to be much higher than $80,000, right? So you just try to have that longer, like when in doubt, zoom out. Right, like so many people probably got so scared here after round tripping their bag. And if you've already held through this big dump, selling at the bottom, like you don't want to sell on these big red candles, like on a weekly time frame or a monthly time frame. At that point, imagine, buying down here, watching it go up, having it come all the way back down, and then selling at break even, and then waiting for price to come back up, and then buying back in. Right? The longer your time horizon, the more calm you'll be about those decisions, right? Like I wasn't freaking, oh my God, I got to sell my bags here. Like I was so far in profit. It was like, it was easy for me to pay myself up here, right? Because it's like worst case scenario, I sell it here, I make a ton of money, and then price continues up and I make a little less money on my smaller bag, right? It's just like a lot more, and you could make much clearer logical decisions when you come from that frame. Right? But when you're buying the tops, oh my God, I got to buy in, it's pumping, and then it dumps you, oh my God, now I got to sell. That's a terrible place to make decisions from. You're not going to make logical decisions, right? So try to have a long-term view. Something like XRP is like a long-term hold for me. Let's see. Shout out to Reacher. Said 100% de-risked half of my Bitcoin exposure at 105.5 as it broke that level. I was drawing the line in the sand. It broke the level I was drawing the line in the sand on. Shout out to Reacher. Great move, bro. And again, even if it rips into new all-time highs, like you have to understand. I had someone in the premium Discord just talking about a trade that they took, and I don't remember the exact trade, but I think they I think it was the trade we had in the premium, the long position from down here. He took it, closed it at the value area high. He meant to take partial profits and close the entire position, and which was a great trade, right? Typical volume profile, deviate below the low, stay inside the profile, rotate to the high. Repeatable, high probability trade setup, even though this wound up taking a really long time through the chop. But then he was mentioning that he ate up a lot of his profit or lost money because as he came in here, he closed the whole trade in profit. Beautiful trade. But then it continued up, and he just kept trying to short and short and short and short because he felt like he was missing out. Not just on the move up, but he was mad, right? Like that he couldn't close the whole trade. He just kept trying to FOMO in. And it's the same thing with long-term spot bags as it is with trading. It's like if you get in here and you make that trade and you sell your whole trade, right? Or you get out of your whole long, make your money. If price goes up to here, it's all good. You made a beautiful trade here. You still got paid for that day, that month, that week, whatever it is. Maybe it's a day trade. Maybe it's a scalp. Maybe it's a swing trade. You still got paid for that move. That was your plan. You got paid. Take your money and move on. There's going to be another setup tomorrow, the next day, next month, next week. Bitcoin is always moving. All we need, at least as traders, is the volatility. For the spot bags, obviously you need price to go up. But it's the same thing with the spot bags, right? Someone who might have gotten into the market in 2021, or maybe they bought down here in 2020, and they rode this all the way up, and maybe they sold their whole bag here. let's just say they made 50K, right? They sold here. Then they're watching it go up. Oh my God, I missed out. Let me just buy again. It's breaking out. And then they go into drawdown. Maybe at that point, they're making a bad decision. Now they're like, oh my God, I'm down. Maybe I should have sold. Then they're chopping themselves up, right? Because then they buy up here, they sell down here, they lose money. Then they see the bounce. At the end of the day, right, they bought here, they sold here. They bought low, they sold high. You do not have to buy the exact bottom and sell the exact top. You just got to capture the bulk of the move. You don't need to bottom tick and top tick. Now, we do that a lot with the trades, but with spot bags, it's much harder, right? Especially when you're dealing with, like, you know, a lot of people have a lot of their investment in crypto, right? So it's like a big amount of their money. You know, you don't need the bottom tick. Like, if you capitalize on this big move, you made a bunch of money, cool. You probably made more than you probably made more than you make at your job on this move, right? Lock it in. It's okay if it goes up a little bit more. Let it move around, right? You got to follow your long-term. You know, maybe you thought you were going to top out at 40K and it wound up going up to 65. Who cares about that extra little 50% move when you've already capitalized on a 400% move? It'll come back down, you can rebuy, and there will be another opportunity. It's very important. I know a lot of people, because I know this because I went through it. A lot of people get chopped up in the emotions of things. Don't worry about it. If I sold my bag here and it ripped up to 200K, I made a bunch of money, right? And I still hold a little. I like to keep a little bit of a moon bag. It kind of suppresses those emotions because it's like, at least I'm still in the game, right? So anyway, let's see. Shout out to Jose. Said never short into a pump. Shout out to Jose. I actually. He said you could have opened a long on XRP at any moment in the past 48 hours, and you would be in the green. When it breaks, it breaks. Well, if you catch the break, right? But it doesn't always break, right? Let me just pull up XRP real quick. Because I would say the opposite, right? And again, of course, situations are different, right? Would I ever short, right? Like with that kind of theory, never short on a pump, right? And it also depends on your context, right? But if you're not going to short a pump, well, then you would never long a dip, right? You would short the dip. I would never short a dip, right? If you shorted this dip as price is coming down, you could be shorting the bottom, right? And then you get a retracement, and then you come back down, right? So for me, right, you literally want to do the opposite, right? Or that's what I do, right? Which typically ends up working in my favor. You want to short as price is coming up. Now, that doesn't mean put a massive swing short in forever at every pump, right? Of course, context is very important, but you know, if you're only gonna long rips, right? And I used to, when I first started trading, I started as like a breakout trader. I wound up getting stuck on the wrong side of ping pong. Now, can people make money breakout trading? Yes. I didn't understand volume as well as I do now, so I would use volume as a big confluence for breakout trading at this point. But let's say you have to. That's why trend. You have to identify the trend, right? If the trend is to the upside, sure, right? If you identify a strong trend and you long here, sure. Are you eventually going to be in profit? You know, if the trend is strong, probably, right? Your trend is your friend. But never am I looking to long on these big green candles. I identify the trend, I identify the resistance, I wait for the pullback, and I literally long as price is coming down. That way, I don't enter and then go into instant drawdown, right? I wait for the pullback, I long the dip. I don't ever long into green candles. So again, if you're looking at this on the daily, right, this is the 15-minute time frame. Of course, if the green candle on the daily, you would technically be long in the daily green candle. But I would say the opposite, right? I would short the rips, long the dips right now. But in a trend, you would say, hey, I'm going to be better off waiting and longing the dip rather than shorting the rip, right? But never am I seeing price go down and actively shorting that dump. Never. I let it go. I wait for the retracement. I enter for the continuation of the trend. You want to identify the trend and then catch the wave. It's like surfing. It's literally like surfing. Identify which way the waves are going, wait for it to come in, catch the wave, right? You don't want to go in between waves. You don't want to, trade with the trend, catch the wave, right? I don't want to long here and then go to instant drawdown, maybe get stopped out, maybe get liquidated. I wouldn't get liquidated because I would set a stop loss, but you want to long the dips, short the rips, right? Now, you don't want to short in the middle of the impulse, obviously. So obviously there's nuance to it, but generally I would say I am never shorting green candles. It's like the same thing people say you can't short in a bull market. Untrue, right? Of course, we've caught massive shorts here in the bull market. Doesn't mean that I'm not holding my spot bags for the continuation, right? But where was I buying my spot bag for the continuation? Was I buying on the way up? I wasn't buying here. I wasn't buying here. I was buying here as price was going down, right? Doesn't mean you can't buy here and continue up. But yeah, I digress. So yeah, really depends on the situation. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Steven says, why not short a dip? Lots of situations, it just dips lower and one can make money. Yeah, for sure. Again, it depends on the situation, right? It's like within this 2-day candle, could you short on this red candle? Yes. But if I go down to like a 15-minute time frame, well, I don't have to go back into bar replay mode, so I don't have to hunt for this. It really depends, right? Now, like I said, breakout trading was very difficult for me in the beginning because I didn't understand volume. Now I would be able to, now if I enter a breakout trade, it's much more higher probability because I understand how volume works. But, like, I don't know, right? Like, for me personally, right, all my shorts here, like I did not short this red candle, but that's because I was shorting on the push up. We shorted here at about $106,000, right? Shorting the retracement up. And I believe it was a Fibonacci retracement. Right? You get the dip. Am I selling the dip? No. I'm waiting for the retracement, lower high, right? Selling the rip to capture the move down. I'm not shorting down here. I'm not shorting down here. I'm not shorting down here. I'm shorting up here as price pushes up. So at the end of the day, if you look at this on a high time frame, maybe that's one big red candle. But very rarely am I... unless I don't breakout trade really anymore. But if I were, I'd be watching volume very closely, and then, you can catch a breakout trade. I just don't really trade like that anymore. I'd rather catch the rips and enjoy the move down, not sell the dip, right? And then it's like, well, am I going to bounce now? Because if I bounce now, it's like sometimes you get the continuation down, and it will wind up being good, but is that as good of a short as shorting as you're pushing up? Not in my opinion. Otherwise, I would trade like that. But again, not saying you can't make money like that. Just for me personally, it works much better for me to fade the rips and sell, short the rips and buy the dips, right? Or short the rips, long the dips. So there you go. Anyway, let's see. When in doubt, just gamble. Shout out to Jose. You can always do that too. Am I shorting right now? Yes, I am shorting right now. There you go. There's my little scalp short. I'm not expecting this to necessarily be a gigantic dump to the downside. But again, where did I take this short? Am I shorting right here? Could you short right here? Again, I'm not saying this is a call or anything like that. But like price is pushing down here. Could you short here? And could price continue down? Yes. I would just always rather try to catch an entry at the top. Does that make sense? So, I don't want to say that you can't short as price is going down. But for me, every time I see something like that, it's like if I'm not in from the top, I just let price go, right? And also, high time frame trend really does matter, right? Sometimes, if I'm anticipating an uptrend, I'm not going to short this dump, right? Maybe I'll short on the top, right? But I'm not going to short into the dip. I'd rather just wait for a pullback to look for a higher low and then long the continuation of that overall trend. Does that make sense? So it's all, trading's very hard, right? Because it's all situational. There are times where maybe you do want to sell into the sell pressure, right? Like there are ways to see that using things like exo charts, etc. But it's all situational. Just from like at phase value, right? If someone doesn't really know anything about trading, I kind of tell them like a lot of people start off on the wrong side of the market, right? It's like they see price going down. Oh, this is bearish, right? Short. And then they just wind up shorting into support. They get stopped out or liquidated, right? And meanwhile, they don't understand that this was actually a massive uptrend and they should have been long in the dip. So like over everything, context is the most important. So I don't want to make it sound like you shouldn't sell as price is going down because like at face value, that makes sense. But to get the best entries, for me, if I'm not in from up here, I'm either waiting for a retracement for a lower high and a lower low and entering here. I'm never entering as price pushes down. I'm not saying you can't make money like that. It's just I'd rather catch the better entries. At the end of the day, whatever works for you. If you short as price pushes down every single time and you make money, for the love of God, just keep doing that, right? Don't overcomplicate it. But that's just in my experience what I like to do. H-bar. Let's take a look at H-bar. Shout out to AS. We actually already took a look at Solana. If you scrub back to the beginning of the stream, we did a quick update on Solana. That's Sui. Let's take a look at H-bar real quick. Actually, I haven't looked at H-bar in a minute. Or I guess we did. Never mind. Look at so much stuff. All right, so we got the weekly MPOC Golden Pocket coming up. This is your next major level. So yeah, this is like a perfect example, right? I don't want to like stick on this, right? But if like I long here, could I get another push up into this level? Sure, right? But like I'd probably rather wait for a push up into that key level to look for a short. Like if I wasn't longing on the push down here and enjoying this entire move up, like this is just late for me to long. Does that make sense? Hopefully I'm not confusing everybody. But anyway, here's your Fibonacci retracement, Golden Pocket, 786. 786 is confluent with your 786 is confluent with your value area low. Golden Pocket is confluent with your weekly naked point of control. This level sits between 13.5 and 14.5 cents. That's the next target. Money flow on the daily attempting to come up. A little bit inverted there, VWAP coming down. So again, you might get a little bit of turbulence. I can't guarantee you're going to, I can't promise you're going to come up and tap that level, but overall, it might take some time. Hopefully, this money flow can continue up. Maybe the red dot prints, maybe you cool off, right? And then if money flow can continue up and cross into the green, that's your big level of resistance. Once you break above this 786, next big target becomes the point of control sitting at 17 cents. So get these on your H-bar chart. 13.5 to 14.5 cents. Flip the 786 value area low. Next zone is going to be sitting at about 17 cents. Simple. If you get a pullback from where we are now, or you come up and hit that golden pocket and get the rejection, I'm not going to pull every local fib, but I'll just pull this. If you do get like a significant correction there, just mark off this level. You got your value area sitting here. I don't know if you're going to get that full pullback, but these are some local levels I'd look at on H-bar. I don't know if you're going to get this full pullback, but if you did, this golden pocket and this 786 would be, you would really want to hold on top of those, right? This is pulled from the impulse where it got impulsive all the way to the high. If we get the push up, you got to move this. But right now that sits between about 11.5 to 11 cents. If you're going to hold your higher lows and your higher highs, right, you would hope something like that, right? You got to keep that higher low coming in. And then your full fib, it's not too far off of that. Maybe I'll mark this off a little bit more generally. So, I don't know if you're going to get that full retracement. So it's so hard for me to say if you should look at the low. You can pull these fibs. You could end up bouncing off this local fib, right? But I just can't give if I gave every single level, they're not all that significant. But if you did get a bigger pullback, you just really want to hold on top of this range, right? Golden pocket value area high, again, 11 cents to, I would even say about 11 cents. Lose that. This 786 is key. Once you lose this 786, if you can't come back down here, hold it. Like, that's your last chance. Once you lose this, probably going to crack this low. So, real line in the sand about 11, like 0.10886. Got to hold that. You lose it, I'll be looking for a crack of that low here at 0.10297. And like even here, right? It's like, would I long this on a 4-hour time frame? Maybe not, right? But like if you're looking at it as a high time frame, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't long green candles. I can't do it, right? I'd rather long at the bottom. I want to buy low, sell high, not buy high and then get wrecked. Hopefully I didn't confuse everybody with that. All right, let's see. Don't forget to take profit, LFG. Shout out to MCM. Absolutely. If you don't pay yourself, you can take the best trades in the world. If you don't pay yourself, you're not going to make that money. Is it rolling over tonight, Frankie? Shout out to Jose. For me, right, again, market's random sometimes. Could you? I don't know if you're talking about H-bar. Could this roll over from here? Maybe. I always prefer to see the target hit, right, which would be the golden pocket weekly naked point of control. So is it impossible to send it down from here? Maybe, but I just always prefer to hit that golden pocket or 786 value area low. Because, you have to ask yourself, like, what am I rejecting here, right? Maybe you have a level there that I don't have, right? I could probably find something if I really dig. Maybe you're tapping this value area low. No, that's confluent with the golden pockets. I would really prefer to see that weekly naked point of control hit. For me, if I don't hit the zone, no trade, right? Like, I have a checklist for my trades, right? Number one, did I hit a key level? If so, check it off. This does not warrant a trade. This does not mean enter the trade for me, right? Did I hit the key level? If yes, move on to question number 2. Was there an entry trigger? A bullish divergence, an SFP. We have all the videos here in the beginner series if you want to learn about those. Do I have an entry trigger? If yes, check it off. This now technically warrants an entry for me. I hit a key level. I see my confirmation. More often than not, I'm taking the trade there. The third question I ask myself is, do I have confluence? This is what would turn an entry into a high probability entry. Do I have money? Am I getting in on a retracement? Maybe I have a downtrend. I'm looking for a retracement to get in to continue the downtrend. So the confluence in that case would be money flow coming out on whatever the time frame is, right? So did I hit the key level? If yes, move on. Did I get an entry trigger? If yes, more often than not, I'm taking an entry. Do I have confluence? If yes, I feel pretty good about the trade. Does this 100% guarantee the trade's going to play out in your favor? Absolutely not. So how do I do that? How do I handle that? I manage the risk. That way, if I'm wrong, because sometimes you'll get an A+ setup and it'll just not play out, you want to make sure that you limit those losses. Free sauce there. Free sauce there. So there you go. But there we go, guys. So with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Getting a little bit of a pullback from that SFP. Short, I wouldn't say cooking just yet, but up 350 on the day. I mean, I kind of consider that still sitting at break even. I'd like to see that crack down. Still holding the long position as well. Where's it at? Bada boom. Still holding the long position from 85K. This is a smaller position. So I have higher swing targets for this, so I'm just going to hold this. I already got my profit locked in. Guaranteed winning trade there. Stop loss at break even. If this thing nukes, short will slap, which I'm not necessarily expecting that, obviously. Why not? Well, when we look at our daily money flow, she's looking pretty, right? She's coming into the green. But we'll see if we can get a little bit of a cool off. And then if we can get the higher lows and the higher highs, biggest level to look at, in my opinion, right now for a continuation up, the level you don't want to lose is really $89,000. If we could stay inside this volume profile and we can hold on top of $89,000, we can look for higher lows and higher highs, continue the uptrend. And then, again, maybe we pull up earlier. We have some local targets here on the short position as well in the premium Discord. So I'm not looking to just hold this down to 89K. I will be taking profits along the way if I even come down to the first take profit. But other than that, I'm just waiting for the bigger level to still come in. Took the short here. If we push up into 95.3 to 97K, got to have it here somewhere. There it is. 95.3 to about 97.5. Still got my alert set here, waiting for this level to get hit. Didn't mean I wasn't going to take the scalp short here because I saw the setup. But for the most part, biggest level of resistance sits up here. If we get the cool off tonight, got to hold on top of this value area low, which is also confluent with your local golden pocket retracement, right? It's not the end-all, be-all level, but I would prefer to hold on top of this volume profile. We want to stay inside this value area to see that POC hit. And whether it's a small pullback and a continuation up, maybe we just hit TP1, maybe I get stopped out for a loss on the short, right? It's very small risk for me. And it's also a hedge because I'm long from 85K. But if we do see the bigger pullback, I'd really like to hold on top of 89K on that Fibonacci retracement to see the continuation up. So there you go, guys. That is what we're looking at here on Bitcoin. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Look at that. Full, almost 2-hour stream here. Starting off 2026 right. Let's see. Night. Shout out to Crypto Boy. Says he wants to see Night. All right. Let's take a quick look at Night. A lot of requests for Night. Problem with Night, reason I don't really look at this often is because we just don't have a lot of high time frame information. I have no information here. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Yeah, thank you for the super chat, bro. Weird. Said, can you do Night? Yes. So yeah, it's just really hard for me to give like a high time frame context here. I have no information on the daily. 12-hour has no money flow. 8-hour barely has any money flow. I really have to come down here because it's like, all right, I see the 4-hour money flow coming out, right? But like, I don't know if this would be a higher probability of a small pullback for a continuation up because I don't have information on the higher time frames. So this is very difficult. But what I can try to do is I can pull up high time frame levels. But at that point, right? Like, I just don't have a lot to work with. Like, you have a weekly, but it's all the way down here at 6 cents. I have another weekly all the way up here at about 11 cents. So I could try to do some local analysis here. Like, I don't really have a clean volume profile I can pull. I could try to pull it like this. So let me try to get you something. Let me get you something. POC golden pocket, value area low confluence. This would be important to hold on top of, right? 786 weekly. So this level sits between about 0.079 and 0.074. So if you fill this whole profile, right, maybe you can fake out that value area low. Let me actually pull this to the low real quick. Where's this coming at? Yeah, so this is definitely key. I don't know if you're going to get the move all the way down there, but between 0.068 and 0.065, that's a big level. You have a weekly, you have the golden macro golden pocket from the low all the way to the high here. That's going to be key. I don't know if you're going to get all the way down there. So until then, I would keep an eye out on this range. Again, not the cleanest volume profile, but I'll mark this out. You can copy the levels. You'll see them right here pop up. Value area high sitting there. POC sitting here. Value area low sitting here. So key support, POC, 0.078. Value area low, 0.074. If you lose that, this is a big zone of support. If you lose this, I'd be inclined to start looking down towards that 786 if I'm being totally honest. Try to pull up the VPVR. Yeah, you have a good bit of volume here, good bit of volume here. These are the levels I would look at. Again, you could copy these prices and get them on your chart. That is what I would pull up for support and resistance. I don't love this 4-hour money flow, but again, you know, 10-hour, like what's that 12 and 16-hour money flow doing? Is the daily money flow crossing into the green? Because if it was, I would be looking for potential higher lows and higher highs. If the daily money flow was coming out, which again, we just don't have the information, I might be looking for this to be a high, low, lower high, massive lower low. I just don't have a good read on the higher time frames. So by the lower time frames, I can say 10-hour money flow, yeah, it's just really hard. I just don't know what the long-term trend would be here. I wish I had that daily money flow. 4-hour money flow is coming out, so I would just be careful of another drop down. One thing I can tell you is you do have support here, 0.079, 0.074. Lose that, pretty big fall off in volume. Next key level sits right here between 0.068 and 0.065. Once, if you lose the golden pocket, which you do have a significant high volume node here, so I actually kind of like that level. You also have confluence on the weekly, so I actually do like that. But if you did wind up losing this, I think it's a pretty quick drop down to the 786, sitting at 0.053. We'll try to keep an eye on this over the next week or so. Just take the high time frames with a grain of salt. You know, if all the other altcoins continue up, it wouldn't be unlikely to see a higher low and a higher high. But again, I just can't say that confidently because I don't have the information. So just be careful. 4-hour money flow coming out. Bounces here. If not, bounces here. If not, this is a bit of a zone too, right? Because this high volume node comes pretty much all the way down to almost 6 cents. So we'll see. I'm trying my best here with the little information I have. So these would definitely, I mean, at the end of the day, the facts are these are the key levels. Money flow and direction, a little bit harder to call. But again, if everything's ripping, everything else is putting in higher lows, higher highs, we're continuing massive trends up, you could look for big bounces here. Those are the levels I would watch. And then major level of resistance at about 0.112. So there you go. Quick little last minute night sauce for you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Have to look at it when Crypto Billy asks. We can't leave Billy Billy hanging there. So shout out to Crypto Billy. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Shout out to the mods in the chat. Rudy, Crush It Nasty, Big Huggies, Diaz, Saeed, Solomon, and last but not least, Coin Operated. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. I will see you guys here tomorrow. Same place, same time. If anything crazy happens, I'll drop a market update tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, and turn on notifications. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Speak for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget like this ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside.